Hey everyone, it's Angela Allen. Welcome back to the Handmade Homestead and Garden. Well, it is Sunday afternoon and it is the wrap up for the first week of the Pantry Challenge that's put on every year at this time by Three Rivers Homestead. So I want to do a quick end of the week wrap up and show you some of the foods that we've eaten. I certainly can't show you every single meal, and definitely I don't want to show you any repeat meals. Once is probably enough. Now we still have plenty of fresh vegetables and some fresh fruits in the house to eat. Not everything is coming out of the actual stored pantry downstairs. We have plenty of potatoes and other root crops like carrots and some turnips, some cabbages in the refrigerator. We still have apples and some other fruits too to get through. And we definitely always eat the fresh food first because, of course, that not being preserved isn't going to last as long. If you're one of my longer term subscribers, you know that we had a really bountiful year with squash. We ended our harvest season with 50 winter squash going into our pantry. Now, in a household where I am the only one who eats squash cooked as squash, that is a lot for one person. So I do cook a few a week, and then I find lots of creative ways to get them into my small family. Since harvest time, I have been baking 3 or 4 whole squashes every single week. And I don't season them when I bake them. I do put a little bit of olive oil on them to help them roast, and I roast them face side up to help dry the flesh out. But when they're cooked, I scrape the flesh from the shells and put it into a container in the refrigerator. Now, sometimes I do serve it with butter and salt and pepper as a mashed potato substitute with a side for dinner. Sometimes, but most of the time, I've had to get really creative with it in baked goods. I've made dozens and dozens of pumpkin muffins, pumpkin chocolate chip muffins, pumpkin bread, pumpkin pie, pumpkin bars, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin and squash smoothies. I use pumpkin and squash interchangeably, and I can come up with literally dozens of ways to use it in baked goods. And this is my basic muffin recipe. I'll do a video about that sometime because it is definitely a recipe that you need to have. These were absolutely tender and absolutely delicious. One of the items in my pantry I want to start getting used up is this sticky tomato barbecue sauce that I made. I made it to put on chicken to serve kind of as an Asian dish with some hot sauce in it and some other Asian flavors like ginger and garlic. So I thought I'd give it a try on top of this meatloaf because I was making kind of an Asian inspired sides that day. And it was pretty good. My family liked it well enough. They did polish off most of this meatloaf in one meal, but I myself personally don't like overly sweet sauces. So I thought it was okay, but I don't know that I would put it on meatloaf again unless I added something a little more savory to it. Maybe some Worcestershire sauce or some extra garlic, just to kind of mellow out some of that sticky sweetness. But it did bake well, and we actually got a couple of meals out of that meatloaf altogether. We do have a small family, so. While rummaging around in my freezer, looking for other things I could add to my meal, I found 3 packages of egg rolls, vegetable egg rolls that I made several months ago. I think there's even a video somewhere in my playlist about this. And when I made them, like I said, they were just vegetable ones. There was no meat in them, and they were okay-ish. Nobody was overly thrilled with them, but I wanted to use these up. I had 3 packets left. I did have to put them in the microwave to thaw them a little to break them apart. It did break the shells a little bit, but that's fine. because my oven does have an air fry function, I was able to get these into the oven and get them crispy. I also figured out that if I just brush a little flavoring on them, they can be vastly improved with just a little bit of toasted sesame oil brushed on and a little bit of soy sauce. And then again, some time under the air fryer in my oven, and they were fine. We did enjoy them with our dinner. Nobody complained, but again, they weren't our favorite. I was really happy to get them eaten and used up and out of the freezer finally. These guys were hanging around just a little bit too long. And not only were there no complaints, we did eat them all in that one meal too. So we didn't have any additional leftovers in the refrigerator afterwards. And you can see one of them was already taken and snacked on. This is another meal that came straight from purging the freezer. It's just a ground lamb and gravy cottage pie topping that I put over some leftover roasted potatoes that were residing in the fridge, and we had that for a meal for dinner. This is half of it. The other half of it Mike actually already ate for dinner. And it was good. We enjoyed it. Now, I always have, it seems, some herbs hanging around drying. I do have a dehydrator and I keep it right in the kitchen. I use it all the time. But once in a while I will hang herbs to let them dry if I have something else going in the dehydrator. So I had done that with these. These are all apple mint leaves, so I'm just stripping them off so I can put them in the bottle and drink them up. Now, word of caution, if you look at this apple mint bottle, it sits on my counter underneath a light, and you can see the herbs in the front bottom of that jar were actually a little bit, had some color loss from the lights, but that's fine. They'll drink just fine. They taste just fine. They're this year's harvest. I will just continue to use them up, but that's why it looked like two different colors in that jar. I did a nice big pot of apple mint and orange slices tea. I put a little bit of red clover in there for its health benefits, and a little bit of raw honey. Made a nice big pot of tea. This ended up in the refrigerator and as iced tea when it was done brewing, and it was delicious. I always try to keep a lot of things to drink in my refrigerator. I usually have a big container of some kind of herbal tea. I have another big container of iced decaf coffee, another container or two of some kind of probiotic soda that I make with water kefir. They're usually different flavors, but very often at least one of them will be homemade ginger ale. And then I keep another pitcher still that has either cranberry juice or some kind of lemonade, strawberry lemonade, rhubarb lemonade, watermelon lemonade, or just straight old lemonade or limeade, so that we always have something cold and ready to drink. But hot tea is good too. So this was a breakfast meal, actually. I am going to defrost some eggs. Like everyone out there that has chickens, ours don't lay in the winter either. So when springtime comes and they're laying very heavily, I start putting 6 raw egg packs right into my freezer. I put raw eggs into a vacuum seal bag, 6 of them, shake them up really, really well, and then immediately freeze them so that they freeze all blended. That means when they defrost just like fresh eggs. There's no difference in taste, texture, or use after they've been frozen. And I normally put about 20 dozen eggs in my freezer every springtime to get us through the wintertime when they are no longer laying. And they are delicious. They taste just like they were just laid. Anyone who knows me knows that I make bone broth all the time. I never waste a chicken carcass, a turkey carcass. I will make fish broth, seafood broth, beef broth, ham broth, any kind of broth I can make. Even pork bones make great bone broth. So I always keep a bag of scraps in my freezer to add to bone broth. And I always have herbs I've grown in the garden. These are just onions. And you'll see me throw a handful of thyme in there as well. I love thyme. It's one of my favorite herbs, sage and thyme both, and I use it in just about everything. Another thing I always add to bone broth, if it's poultry bone broth, is turmeric. And I do add quite a bit. It does darken the color, it makes it a little bit yellow, a little bit darker, but the health benefits of turmeric and adding black pepper as well just can't be beat, so I always add it in bone broth. Now I have a freezer full of bone broth, but I'm actually going to use this specific pot here to make some soup. I did do that in a video, so you might have seen a little bit of this footage before. I make bone broth in my Instant Pot because you can make really good, complete bone broth within a 90-minute time frame in a pressure cooker. Sometimes I cook it on the stove overnight, but these are just what I added. Some chicken, carrots from the garden, celery from the garden, herbs from the garden, all of that. Diced onions or diced green onions went right into the pot. And you're going to see me pour it right out of a bag here because I was doing a demonstration for a different video. But that bag has everything in it, all the vegetables, all the herbs, the bone broth, and the chicken or turkey. And so all I have to do is heat that up, add some noodles, let them cook, and I am ready for dinner. And that's just what we did. And there were no leftovers from this little pot of soup. My husband and I had it actually for lunch, and we ate every bit of it. It was so delicious. You really just can't beat a nice, healthy bone broth soup. And it's kind of funny, I'm using this little ladle, so it takes a lot of ladling just to get one, good-sized bowl of soup here. But it worked, and it was so good, so satisfying with a nice chunk of crusty bread. You just can't beat that, especially on a cold day, especially during cold and flu season. My favorite part of chicken noodle soup are carrots. Another way that I always cook from my pantry is I always make our bread. Every day, pretty much every day, I make some kind of bread. These are sourdough bagels. I started the dough last night, and then this morning, first thing, shaped them and let them rise in my oven. Again, my oven has a proof setting. Put it on proof, let them rise for another 4 hours, and I was ready to boil and bake these off. I made 16 bagels. They will be done and gone before the day is over. We love homemade bagels. I happen to make everything but the bagel seasoning bagels this time. My family loved them, and we just ate those right up. We had sandwiches, I think, for lunch on them, and then we had bagels with our supper, too. Bagels are one thing that I never have to worry about any of them being wasted. They are just gone in a flash around here. Well, thank you so much for this quick little tour of this week's meals to wrap up the first week of the Pantry Challenge for 2026. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the video, make some comments. Let me know what you're doing for the Pantry Challenge, what kind of meals that you're making. And absolutely, I'm always up for more suggestions, especially if you have them to do with anything to do with peach salsa, pickled peppers, or pasta sauces. All right, until next week, happy eating, and I will see you soon. Take care.